We've got some great people with us here, all MSNBC political analysts. Howard Fineman is the Huffington Post Media Group editorial director. Eugene Robinson's a Washington Post columnist, Pulitzer Prize winner. And Michael Steele's the former chairman of the Republican National Committee. I said that right, I think. Yesterday at a Gingrich event in Marshalltown, Iowa, Gingrich said he'd been Romney voted, a reference to the Swift boat attacks on John Kerry in 2004. So I asked the former speaker if this is the future of American politics. The lofty rhetoric on the trail by the candidate himself. Meanwhile, the nasty super PAC ads, anonymous ads from a front group. Here's our exchange.
No more than has been in the past. I mean,
but you won all these debates, and you come in here, and all I watch on television is these Restore Our Future ads. They're legal now. I paid for this ad by Mitt Romney, and then he goes out looking like $1 million, saying how great he is. He has a beautiful family, but his ads are trashing you constantly.
Right.
And
so part of the question you have to ask yourself is, he is assuming the American people are stupid. I don't think the American people are stupid.
The polls show that they're responding, though. The polls are reacting to this.
I'm sure within a few weeks, every American will know this is his PAC with his staff.
It took you from the 30s down to the teens with this strategy. It's working. And why doesn't he do it in 50 states?
And by the way, all it did was guarantee that some other conservative emerged. Yeah. And didn't help Romney at all.
But he's not afraid of another conservative. He's afraid of you.
Well,
he got rid of the guy he wanted to get rid of.
He didn't get rid of me. He just slowed me down.
What stops him from doing this in every state for the rest of this campaign?
We will make it increasingly clear that these are his ads.
How? There's no tagline.
No. All you have to do is list his former staff and his donors. And then he can go around the country all he wants to and say he's not responsible for this. It makes him look like, here's my simple tagline. Somebody who will lie to you to get to be president will lie to you when they are president.
But you didn't have any problem with Citizens United. You have no problem with these big donors spending tons of money for anonymous ads attacking you.
I have every problem. First of all, no ads are being run by any of my friends or attacking anybody.
But his own.
Second, my solution would be to eliminate all the election laws and allow people to give unlimited personal money after tax and file every night and let the candidates run the campaigns and have the candidate be responsible. I think the current mess is a disgrace. I think it debilitates politics. I think it strengthens millionaires, and it weakens middle-class candidates.
Isn't that amazing, Gene Robinson? There is a conservative Republican saying this anything goes campaigning where Citizens United ruled that a guy with lots of money, the Koch brothers or else, can spend zillions of dollars without putting their name on the ad. It's not like Little League or a bowling league. You don't put the name on the back who's paying for the team. They're destroying Newt Gingrich, and he supported the decision.
We need some regulation so these millionaires don't take over it. And it's an amazing thing for a Republican candidate to be saying in this day and age.
And Howard, here he is, the guy who's now hoisted on his own petard. Right. Republicans say money is, well, they all say things like corporations are people too, and dollars are people, and dollars are votes. Now we find out he turns on the TV, poor him and Calistria. I've never felt sorry for them for a second in my life until I got here to Iowa. You turn on the TV, and it's sewage coming out of the TV set constantly. This guy can give 1 million debate performances. It won't matter. And by the way, Romney out there with his beautiful family reciting America the Beautiful. It's like that scene in The Godfather when they're killing the cop in Chicago. Oh, he's at the opera. Remember? He's crying in the opera.
As we saw the other day, Chris, at the rally, Romney's out there with the flags waving and the Klieg lights.
Beautiful.
Meanwhile, Mitt Romney's saying, I can't do modern politics. He really said that.
Here it is, by the way. Here's Romney. This is the scene out of The Godfather. Remember that scene? Anyway, let's watch him on the hill just a few days ago. Let's watch.
I love the words of that national hymn, if you will. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain. Do cornfields count as amber waves of grain? I believe so. For purple mountains' majesty, we don't have a lot of those in Iowa. Oh, beautiful for heroes proved in liberating strife. The songwriter said this, oh, beautiful for patriot dream that sees beyond the years.
Okay, isn't that beautiful? Michael Steele, former chair of the Republican National Committee. There you have the perfect reason why people don't like politicians. An absolute bogus fraud show. There's the guy looking like $1 million singing the praises of America while the sewage pours out of the television set that his friends with big money are paying for. Your thoughts?
And I'm supposed to be upset about that?
I'm just asking. I thought you might have a conscience.
Well,
I didn't know.
I do. I think it struck me as interesting that the tone that Romney has taken in the last few days of this campaign vis-a-vis Newt has been much more conciliatory, much more sort of, what he's saying. Now, what his folks are doing is very different.
Let's watch what his folks are doing. Nice distinction, Michael Steele. Let's watch what his folks are doing.
My point, but it reminds me of the Good Samaritan who comes and helps the guy up off the ground, but he doesn't tell him the people beat you up were my guys. Okay. So it's that same
No, he didn't tell him that he sicked them on him. Anyway, here he is, the pro-Romney super PAC, quote, Restore Our Future, which has nothing to do with Mitt Romney, of course, hammering Gingrich with negative advertising. Here's a piece of it.
Barack Obama's plan is working. Destroy Mitt Romney, run against Newt Gingrich. Newt has a ton of baggage. He was fined $300,000 for ethics violations and took $1.6 million from Freddie Mac before it helped cause the economic meltdown. Newt supports amnesty for illegal immigrants and teamed with Nancy Pelosi and Al Gore on global warming. Maybe that's why George Will calls him the least conservative candidate. Check the facts at newtfacts.com. Restore Our Future Inc. is responsible for the content of this message.
Well, here's another one. Let's watch the second one. This is along the same line, Michael Steele. This is what you call the Good Samaritan. Here he is, another pro-Romney group. Same one, by the way. Restore Our Future while destroying Mitt Romney. I'm sorry, Newt Gingrich. Let's listen.
Ever notice how some people make a lot of mistakes?
It's probably a mistake. I made a mistake. I've made mistakes at times.
So far, Newt Gingrich has admitted his mistakes or flipped on, teaming up with Nancy Pelosi, immigration, Medicare, healthcare, Iraq, attacking Mitt Romney, and more.
I made a big mistake in the spring.
Haven't we had enough mistakes? Restore Our Future is responsible for the content of this message.
Yeah, Restore Our Future. Which, they never say the word Mitt Romney, even though all his people are involved with it, all his donors are involved with it. You're shaking your head.
But
I totally agree with you.
Here's one reason why this is working here. First of all, the sheer tonnage. I mean, I've never seen in a concentrated space so much advertising, from Davenport all the way out to Sioux City and back.
You can't escape.
You can
watch entertainment tonight. You can choose anything.
But the other thing here, Newt is to some extent made vulnerable by the way he rose to prominence here.
So?
Because he did it on a media wave of debates, flying above the air, so to speak. He didn't spend a year and a half here. He didn't spend a year and a half here in Iowa becoming an Iowan.
Right.
Rick Santorum has essentially become an Iowan. He speaks to Iowa from the inside out. People know who he is. They know his record. They know what he stands for. The other reason this kind of advertising works is that most people here in Iowa didn't really know anything very much about Newt Gingrich. Right. So this negative advertising is painting on a blank canvas.
Except
a famous guy who is a blank canvas.
There's a John Henry aspect to this. Yeah. Newt Gingrich earned that positive number he came in here with by live debate performances.
On his own.
Yeah, he didn't do it by having some rich guys.
But he didn't do it by going from town to town.
But that's
he didn't go town to town, but he performed in the debates. Look, Newt Gingrich knows a lot about policy, about domestic policy, foreign policy.
But Iowans didn't know a lot about him. That's my point.
Wait a minute. I take that up to a point. You cannot sit there and think that the folks of Iowa were totally clueless about his tenure as Speaker of the House, his takeover of the conservative movement and moving it into prominence in 1994 with a historic election. So you can't paint this brush that the people here in this state had no clue who Newt Gingrich was. They did. They had it in context. What these ads did was take it out of context, and that's the point of negative advertising, is to take you out of context and paint a picture that isn't legitimate necessarily.
My sense is that all the negative ads are working. That people I'm talking to, Iowans I'm talking to, are aware of what's in all the negative ads about all the candidates, and they can recite all the reasons from the ads not to vote for this candidate, not to vote for that candidate.
That's why, according to some polls, there's still 40% of the
That's
country.
right. They're left floating out there, turned off to all the candidates. So the libertarians will vote for Ron Paul. They would have done it 400 years ago.
Right.
The Christian conservatives will probably go to Santorum, which is they would have done 400 years ago. What happens to the rest, we don't know. But here's Gingrich lining up his attack for New Hampshire. This guy ain't quitting. I've said he's Freddy Krueger just to make sure I'm not rooting for him. Here he is going to New Hampshire with this. Catch this line of attack. He ain't defenseless. Let's watch.
I think New Hampshire is the first perfect state to have a debate over Romney Care, and to have a debate about tax-paid abortions, which he signed, and to have a debate about putting Planned Parenthood in a government board, which he signed, and to have a debate about appointing liberal judges, which he did, And so I think New Hampshire is a good place to start the debate for South Carolina.
Well, you know, it's one of those battles like in Spartacus. Each guy has his own weapon. Newt has a lot of money. He's got a knife in his hand.
Yep.
Okay, he's going to go up there to New Hampshire to propel himself into South Carolina.
That's right.
Yeah.
How can you vote for Mitt Romney, Governor Romney, if he signed a pro-abortion funding bill?
That's right. Mm-hmm. New Hampshire's all about South Carolina for Newt, and that's his staging ground to sweep into the South, to pick up what he can there, move into Florida, and leave Romney battered, bruised on those issues that matter to the core of our party.
Yeah. And one thing we know about Newt Gingrich is that if he's wounded, you got to kill him. I mean, Romney's going to have to kill him. I don't think he's killed him, and I think Newt is going to continue because he believes that indefatigability is the key to success.
Well,
keep coming.
Also, he's a fighter, and he actually fights better from behind than ahead. Okay, that's the way he is mentally. The other thing is he's got the Manchester Union leader in New Hampshire, which endorsed him. Now, the Union leader doesn't have quite the power it did a decade ago, but they are tough.
Will they jump in this fight on his side?
They will jump in.
Will they attack Romney for funding abortion?
There's no bigger sport among conservatives in New Hampshire, no more fun they can have than attacking Mitt Romney. They've been doing it for years and years and years.
Okay.
Joe McQuaid, the editor of the Union leader, is going to go nuts on Newt's behalf.
Okay, here's the toughest question for you pundits. So you start with the Republican leader, former Republican leader, Erzat. What's it? Erzat,
right?
Okay, let me ask you this.
Yep.
Who's going to be Mitt Romney's biggest opponent 2-3 weeks from now? Will it be Santorum, who's doing very well here and may win tomorrow night, or will it be Newt Gingrich, who'll still be in the fight?
I think it'll be Newt.
Still biggest threat down the road.
I think more likely to be Newt.
Tough one, huh?
He's better copy. Newt's better copy.
Okay,
it's that simple.
Okay,
He's better copy.
I think it's Newt. Anyway, Gene Robinson, Michael Steele, Howard Furman.